Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the 10 Things channel once again. We are doing another video. We want to wrap up on some portions of the relationship series. We're giving 10 things all the time on relationship, godly relationships that result in godly offspring, relationships that birth ministries, relationship that brings about God's promises, God's way of doing things. Today we are on another relationship. Over the previous series or previous videos, we talked about 10 people you should never marry. We talked about 10 signs that you are a strange woman. We talked about 10 signs that you are a simple-minded or a foolish man. And please check out those videos. And please share this video, subscribe so that you'll be notified when we make 10 more things that you need to know. 10 more things that you need to know. So today we are doing 10 conversation killers in a relationship. 10 conversation killers in a relationship. You know, in every relationship, one of the key pillars of the relationship, one of the things which sustains it, which makes it wonderful, nice, is a conversation. It's so in friendship, it's so in romantic relationship, it's so even at work. For the work to thrive, for there to be team building, there need to be communication, which comes from conversation. But many marriages, the conversation has stopped. They have stopped talking, actually, which is a form of communication. And when you stop talking, many things stop. Your emotions go down, your desires go down, because those things are stirred by the words you hear, especially for women. And then for a man to say it right, he has to feel it. So for men, when a man stops talking, he has stopped feeling. And that is also a dangerous situation. Now, the first thing which kills conversations in marriage is mockery. There are people who don't know when to stop making fun of their partner. Bible calls it calls joking. Anything that they say, they make fun of it. Maybe because of where they come from, they make fun of their accent, they make fun of their jargons, they make fun of their slangs. If you're in a relationship and you make fun of your partner when he or she is talking, or when he or she makes a mistake, that partner will become very cautious saying anything. And that's the beginning of the person stopping this conversation with you because the person doesn't want to become a laughing stock. So Bible is clear on this thing when Bible advises us that we should not make fun of people. We should make fun with people. Stop making fun of your wife. Stop making fun of your something wrong with it. Anything he says, you have a problem with it. Anything she says, you're either criticizing the grammar, or criticizing the words you use, or you're criticizing her logic, or you're criticizing the motive. You're not criticizing whatever she says, whatever he says. You don't seem to think she makes sense or she's saying anything intelligent. You don't make you make her feel like she's not saying anything mature. Not that she says it's mature. If you go along this line for long, she will stop talking because she doesn't want to be put down during your conversation. So she will stop talking. So one of the killers of conversation is unfair criticism, criticizing the person. If somebody feels that you have been unfair, the person is supposed to care about him or her. You are criticizing him for the action he has taken instead of supporting him. That person will stop talking. It's a clear conversation killer. He will stop talking. He will talk again. Now we have the third one is when one party or spouse is keeping a recently occurred secret. This is detective stuff. If you want to detect whether your once talking parrot partner has done something against the relationship, one of the first sure signs is that person will stop having natural conversation. You have to stir the person up to converse. You have to, kind of wind the person up to respond to your naturally to your questions and queries. That person will just go mute. because that person will be preoccupied with keeping you from knowing that secret. It's one sure sign that your partner has done something against you and is keeping it as a secret. So that's another conversation killer. Now, another conversation killer, which is classic, especially for introverts, is that there's when there is an unresolved issue. You've had an issue, you think that it has been solved. If your partner, if your wife or husband, if your beloved does not return to the normal form of conversation as you used to have, it's a clear sign that the issue is not resolved. In fact, it's because the issue is not resolved, that is how come your partner, your wife, or your husband cannot converse with you. The person is still brooding over the issue. And if you are the introvert type, you know this. But the extroverts don't get it. They think once the thing has been said and done, it should be gone. But for an introvert, the person will be brooding over the issue over and over again and therefore will not want to talk for fear of betraying this thing going on in her mind or his mind when she has probably that's been forgotten. So that's another sign of another resolved issue. Bible says something about Absalom when Amnon his half brother actually raped his sister. Bible says that he said neither a word for more than a year to Amnon. He said neither good or bad to him. In other words, he didn't speak to him. So once you are in a relationship and the person suddenly stops speaking, it's a clear sign that the person has some issue with you, and you should not overlook it. So the fifth thing which kills conversation relationship is um, when the couple keep telling each other what they can or cannot talk about. If you're there with somebody and then you raise a topic about this family and say, no, don't talk about it. You raise a topic about his work and say, no, no, don't talk about work. You raise a topic about her dress and say, no, don't talk about dress. You raise a topic about how and when there are these no-go areas are set in the conversation where your partner is telling you that these areas I will not accept countenance any form of conversations there, then over time there will be no more areas for you to converse over. And therefore you converse very little. And therefore everything about you will just die off. The conversation is a vehicle that carries the passion in the relationship. Number six, the sex conversation killer is when there's no longer mutual respect between the couple. Somebody will say, but if there's no mutual respect, then there'll be insult. No. For civilized, highly educated people reputation, when there's no more mutual respect, what they do is that they refuse to converse with each other. In other words, they don't think it's a worthwhile endeavor to converse any longer. So they just don't converse. That is when the answers are yes and no, and that is it. Or maybe, yes, no, maybe. Some phrases and just one word thing, and that's it. That is mutual respect is gone. The person does not have the compulsion, does not have the need to converse with a person. So that is also when mutual respect is lost. So watch it. It's very important. If mutual respect is lost in the relationship, there'll be less talking, especially from the more introvert one. The more introvert one will show you are not talking. Now, the sixth conversation killer is when there's no yeah, that's the sixth one. So when there's no respect between the couple. The seventh one is when the couple's interests and motivations are no longer aligned. When the couple's interests and motivations are no longer aligned. And this is clear. I mean, this is clear. You all used to love God and the rest, and then one of you has backsliding, is no more interested in God, interested in talking about God. It kills so many areas in conversation. Because anytime you raise a conversation, it's going to remind him of what he has left behind. It's going to remind him of what he has fallen from. Therefore, the person will no longer want to converse with you. It's a sure sign that your husband to be or your wife to be has backslidden or has found a new way of worship or has found a kind of worship or has become interested in things you do not share. When there is no sharing of interest, when there's no mutual interest shared, the conversations are little because there'll be little you agree on, there'll be little you both appreciate. Therefore, you talk little. Okay, so that was number seven. Number eight, the eighth conversation killer is when at least one of them is cheating. Wow, this one is sad. This one is painful. But what can we do? When one at least one of the couple is cheating, they are more likely not to talk. Why? Because the attention is on the person they're cheating with, or that their attention is preoccupied with not being caught. And these things would take them and their interest and their desire to talk from them. Surely it will. So watch out for these. The ones conversationist, the ones person who used to talk suddenly goes mute, and you realize that's avoiding eye contact and the rest. It's a sign that that person must have actually been unfaithful, and therefore does not want to keep talking to let this little secret slip out. Okay, so the ninth um, sign, and this is a very sad one. This is this thing nobody wants to happen to him in a marriage or in a relationship. When there's lack of interest in the conversation because the person is no longer interested in the relationship. This one everybody notices. Once the your lover is or your beloved or fiance is no longer interested in the relationship, one of the surest ways it will show is that that person's conversation with you will reduce drastically. The person will hardly call. When the person calls, the person will not even talk for 1 minute. When you try to keep a conversation, the person will find an excuse to end it. The person does not feel like desire to talk to you. It's a sure sign the person has lost interest in the relationship. The person is no longer interested in the relationship. And you need to take steps to make sure you're not hurt at this point, actually. Because you cannot talk to somebody you care about, or you used to care about without actually letting the person know that you're no longer interested. And therefore, such people will not want to talk, they will avoid you. They don't want to talk at all. They will block you, and that's a sure sign the person is no longer interested in a relationship. Now, the last, the last conversation killer is when the person is no longer happy in the relationship. When you're no longer happy, in other words, this particular case is a marriage, it's a commitment, or it's an engagement, it's a commitment. The person's God fearing. Like Joseph, whose Mary has gotten pregnant, the person may decide to not to embarrass you, so may decide to leave you quietly and the rest. Or that the person may not want to leave you, but the person is no longer happy in the relationship.